Yo.
What up? What up?
Let's fucking go.
Let's
What's
go,
up,
man? I haven't seen you in a long time, man.
I know, man. Shit. Life been lifing, man, dude.
Man, these fucking kids got us fucked up.
I'm over here singing Papa Roach off air. Getting amped.
We gotta put that in.
We should throw that song on. Like, yeah, man. That Last Resort song when I was growing up in Jersey, like nobody listened to like rock that much. And I remember even the kids from the projects were like, "Yo, them white boys is crazy. That song hits, yo."
I was telling you off air, man. That was a time when there was a club here in Orlando called the Roxy, and those of you who I don't know, this is like I guess late '90s, early 2000s, right?
Roxy was still a thing a couple of years ago, bro. Yeah.
So they used to have this fight night where people would come to the club. Like, and it is a club, people. It is a fucking dance club.
It was a club, and then one night of the week they would have fight nights.
They have fight nights, and so you would literally get into a ring. And they would go by weight. You'd have to weigh yourself, and if you were within the range of this weight class, right, you could fight another individual.
That shit was wild.
It was fucking wild,
and you could be fucked up, and they let you in.
They let you fucking fight no matter what. Bro.
It was amazing.
But I remember, like, that's that song, that Last Resort song by Papa Roach, that they would play that shit during the fights, and the fucking crowd would be like, cut my life into pieces.
And you're like,
yeah. That was fucking dope, man. I remember always thinking, and I went a few times, and it was just like, man, if I ever get in that ring at the Roxy, I wanted to play that fucking song.
That's your song?
They have to play that fucking song, bro. No, like when the bell rings, they got to play the song.
You gotta come in to like let the bodies hit the floor.
Another one.
That's
my fucking gym favorites, bro.
Oh man, my kids, especially my daughter's into like some of the rock jams, and then some of the classics, and put her on to Enter Sandman.
Yeah, they played that shit the other day. As I was in my house, they were playing it on TV for something. I can't remember what it was, and I was doing that, and I'm the only one bobbing my head, right?
Yeah, and she's teaching herself how to play it on the guitar.
Oh, it's
dope. Awesome. I'm like,
fuck yeah, dude. That shit is dope.
Cause like some riffs are unmistakable. The minute you hear them, you're like, oh, I know what that is. You're like, yeah, it's awesome.
Yo, welcome back, everybody, to the Carpet Footman Podcast. He is Juan, and I'm Sean, and every week we get together, have a few drinks, talk about things going on in the world, try to focus on things making an impact, whether they be good, bad, or otherwise. Hit him with the drink of the day.
Oh, this shit is good. I'm pretty sure it's the first time we're trying something like this. Maybe we've done like something with similar ingredients, but for sure that I can recall.
I think with the tequila, definitely.
Yeah, man. Yep. Yeah, you're right. With a tequila, definitely. So this is a blueberry basil smash. And we made it with tequila, and we initially started with this tequila de Herradura Ultra, and then realized this tequila is way too good to be mixing. So then we threw in some other tequila. That's not a point. But
use your favorite
tequila. But and we did it in a rocks glass initially, just built it in the glass, and then we did it in a shaker, and it's definitely better flavor wise in a shaker.
I think
so. So I'm gonna go with in a shaker. And a handful of blueberries, man. I was doing like 6 to 8 blueberries, and then doing maybe 4 to 5 basil leaves. And the basil is from my own, my little plant. I've kept alive for long enough. So I'm proud of my basil plant coming through. So about 4 to 5 basil leaves, about 6 to 8 blueberries, half an ounce of agave syrup. You can up that to 3/4, and it does change it enough if you want it a little bit on the sweeter side. But add the agave, muddle that in the shaker, add some ice, add 3/4 ounce of lime juice, 2 ounces of the tequila, and shake real well and pour in the rocks glass. Garnish with the blueberries and some basil, and enjoy. It's good.
Oh like it. If you guys see it on the video, we got a whole shish kebab
of blueberries. And got the basil. The basil smell good. I love it, man.
I'm letting my blueberries soak in the drink.
It does make a big difference, man. And I've been eating. So we've been eating a little healthy. Antioxidants is going to help us not get hungover. I've had 57 blueberries tonight while we've been drinking this. It's good, man. But dude, I can't compliment this Herradura Ultra, and it's an añejo. It's an añejo that's clear, which I'm guessing this is where the Ultra comes from. It is so good that we started sipping it straight with nothing, and we almost changed it and just said, fuck it, no cocktail. Let's just drink this straight up. This one is so good.
It's got like nice flavors in it, man. Yeah. It's so smooth. And,
it's not as alcohol forward as some stuff could be. Like it definitely, like some stuff is like initially it's like really alcohol forward, and you got to kind of get past that to enjoy the flavor. But this one tastes like good, like right out of the gate, man.
And this brand that is it Herradura?
Yeah,
right. Am I saying that correctly? Every Mexican that I've ever known has recommended that brand as like, I guess, like the closest thing to like real tequila that's available in our stores.
Gotcha. Yeah, you're right. A lot of them will bring up that brand, and I've never had this one.
No, neither.
I've had their añejo, I've had their reposado, I've had the regular clear tequila from them, but never the ultra. And it was so good. I'm like, yeah, that's a sipper. Like, that's a you don't want to ruin it. So
that's why if you're looking at the video, there's not much missing from that bottle.
No, we started mixing some other tequilas. Yeah. And there's no knock on those other tequilas, but they just weren't this. So
it's good, bro.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's so good. This is why, dude, every once in a while, like we'll get like some random like sponsor person, and it'll be like some tequila brand or something, but it'll be like, oh, you can only do that tequila, and it's some dog shit tequila we never heard of or whatever. And I'm just like, no, we can't. Cause this is how we discover new stuff that we haven't tried before. I was on a pot, and this bottle actually came from Sean as a Christmas gift, and I'm finally cracking it open now. I was like, I've been meaning to crack it open. I was like, nah, fuck it, I'm gonna wait till we do one. And then I'm like, no, I don't. It's a shame. I mixed this thing. Now I feel stupid. I'm like, I should have just slipped this the whole time. Yeah.
Well, we did figure it out after the first one. So
yeah. Thankfully, man, we decided because that's way too good. I might ask for the glass back. Just drink that by itself. So good, man. But bro, I feel like we ain't done this shit in a month. And so much has
been
happened.
A week.
Yeah,
I think it's been.
I know.
No. Actually,
maybe 2 weeks, maybe.
No, maybe a week and a half.
Yeah.
Like
I feel like just so much has happened in the world in general, but also so much that's like just was maybe peaked, a week or two ago, and now it's no longer relevant, and so we're like playing catch up, but also shit's happening today. It's just
no matter, man. It's relevant to us, goddamn.
Yeah, so we apologize if you guys it's old news and you hear it on other podcasts of the news, or your Facebook, or your aunt who watches too much Facebook and scrolls through too much is telling you about all this shit that we're talking about. Yeah.
Well, let me tell you what most of you probably not reading about in the news. The carbon footprint of the week is going out to the Yankees. And me and Juan, we gonna be different on Sunday.
Oh yeah, we definitely gonna be different on this one.
The Yankees have eased up on their rules around facial hair. So the New York Yankees, as most of you know, elite, historic baseball team in New York. They play in the Bronx. But for the past 49 years, and I'm 50 years old, right? So this is my entire life. For the past 49 years, beards were not allowed among Yankees players, but the team owner, Hal Steinbrenner, son of George Steinbrenner, announced Friday that the well-groomed beards will now be permitted as the franchise evolves with the times.
Is long hair included in that? Because they had a thing against long hair too.
It was hair, it was beards, it was everything. It just said well-groomed beards.
Okay.
So, which while I don't disagree with the well-groomed beards in general, I don't like this, man. This is fucking blasphemy.
Yeah,
it's fucking blasphemy,
so you want them to keep the rule in place?
Yeah.
About the okay.
Yeah, I like it, man. I think that when there's something about coming to the Yankees, and like I don't care who you are, I don't care who you root for. It's like if you play baseball as a little kid, unless you are like a Boston Red Sox fan, your dream is to probably play for the Yankees.
So, and this is where my argument comes in. And you know me, I'm a diehard Yankees fan. I think of all my favorite sports teams, the Yankees are like, would be the one that I would say like I the most emotional I get about probably would be Yankees. I think that is the reason why I think it shouldn't be anymore. I think that opinion doesn't resonate and isn't true with kids today. I think
that they don't want to play for them. Is that what you think?
Yeah, I don't think that they look at them as winners and that they want to play for them. I think if you think about the last time the Yankees won the World Series, it's been 16 years, right?
Oh yeah, true.
And so you think about like your boys are getting ready to turn what, 18?
Yep.
The Yankees have, I don't want to say sucked, but have sucked for the vast majority of their life. They haven't seen them win a World Series.
They haven't seen them win the World Series, right.
They didn't make it to one until this past year. So I think it's almost like we forgive if you're the sort of iconic franchise that has this history and all that. Yeah, we let you get away with shit like that. I think what's happened is like this new generation of players. If you think about a 25-year-old, right, that's going into the MLB now, they don't look at the Yankees as the dynasty that we saw them as.
Yeah.
And so those are the kids that you're trying to get to go play with you. The 18-year-olds are the kids you're trying to get to go play for you. The free agents now who are early 20s, mid 20s, maybe getting into 30, who are the people you're trying to sort of like sway.
Yeah.
And those people didn't grow up in an era where the Yankees were the dominant, iconic franchise. And I think to those guys, like to your point, like to me, if you got either shave and I get to be Yankee, yeah, I'm in, right? Like I get it. But I don't think that applies anymore to these kids. And so at some point, this tells me that it has been costing them elite free agents. And so that's why they felt like they had to make this change.
And that could be true. I don't know that to be true, right? But I liked even as a fan, I liked watching them because here, like historically, whether they were winning or not, they were historically the team that was able to offer the money.
Yeah.
Right? And so if you're this star player and the Yankees want you and they're giving you this exorbitant amount of money, there's this trade-off.
Well, I think the problem now is that not only are other owners, because the Yankees have never been the richest team in baseball, right? They've barely cracked the top 10. So I think for the most part, like even in their heyday where they were just overpaying for everybody, they were like 9th richest owner anyway. And so the idea was like, well, they have the most money. It's like, no, they're just willing to spend all their money.
They're willing to spend
because for George Steinbrenner, the team wasn't a moneymaker for him. It was a hobby. He was like, I want to win over everything. Yeah. And my argument to people all the time was like, don't you want your sports franchise to value winning over everything?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Like
bro.
He was like, yeah, like people would get so mad, like, oh, he spends the most amount of money. Yeah, he only cares about winning. He doesn't give a fuck about making money. He doesn't give a fuck about turning a profit. He was like, I made my money. And he would be outward about this. He's like, I made my money. There's no salary cap in baseball. I want to fucking win. And so I'm going to do anything it takes to win. And I love that as a fan. Because it's like, you don't want to go watch a shitty product. Like we're here, bro, watching the Orlando Magic get blown out year after year after year after year. Because they have shitty ownership.
They lost tonight to Toronto.
Yeah, and they got blown the fuck out the other day.
I don't even know who Toronto has.
Dude, Steph Curry put up a 50-something piece on them. I was like, bro, and then they lost by 90. I was like, like I don't want that ownership. That ownership values sort of like turning a profit, and I get it, whatever. It is a business, but they value sort of like the turning a profit and all that. As a fan, I want you to value winning.
Yeah.
Right. I don't give a fuck about your bottom line as a fan.
Yep.
Right. So I get it as a person who needs to keep a job, but as a fan, I want you to do it by any means necessary.
Yeah.
And so I understood that. I just think, so it used to be like this iconic thing where like you went there, you couldn't grow out your hair, and we've had some like Johnny Damon had the long hair, went over to the Yankees, had the shave, had the cut, he had the crazy beard, had the, Garrett Cole had a beard and all that stuff, went signed the Yankees. And to your point, I think Garrett Cole grew up in an era where Garrett Cole was a Yankee fan growing up, so he's like, I'll fucking cut off my arm, like I just want to be a Yankee.
Right.
I think that isn't relevant anymore, and even as like a diehard Yankees fan, I'm not so married to the idea because I recognize that like evolve or die applies to everything.
Yeah, no, and I agree, but just as I love watching the dudes that look like fucking Teen Wolf. And then they have to fucking come here, and I'm like, yeah, bow down, bitch.
And you got to play a bunch of dudes that look like they're just hitting puberty. Yankees always look like a young team.
But to me, it's like the young. It's like the young guys. They're business like, the professionalism, the standard, the upholding the standard, the cleanliness, the pride, all of that shit like mixed in together. For me, it's just like, yeah, like watching a guy like Johnny Damon who has caused them to lose, right? You come over, it's just like, yep, now you're part of this, and this is what this means. And unfortunately, yeah, you can't have your fucking facial hair, you can't have your long hair. This is what this franchise is about. And really, for some, probably like
Like some tradition, I guess.
It's almost like a tradition thing where you just go like, like this is just who we are.
And I can understand that like element of it, of like the tradition of like, no, this is just something that you sort of associate with being a Yankee. And even like, I can even understand the part of like as much as I've been given so much shit over my like career, like day job wise, of like about my appearance, like over the years, like whether it was like the clothes I wore or the beard or like the way I talked or whatever. Like I mean you've been with me, so I've been given shit over time, and I remember like at several points in time I've told the person like, whether someone found out I had tattoos or someone found out, I'm like, I'm the same guy you were talking to 20 minutes ago that you were willing to,
it's nothing to do with your performance.
Right. And so like, I can almost understand the, like the, if you look good, you feel good, you do that and the business element of it. But I also think at the end of the day, like pro sports caters to like, you're trying to get the youngest, fastest, elite athletes, all that. And those kids are going to go,
what do they look like now?
Right. And that's where and I think that if the Yankees rattle off 3 World Series titles in a row, or they win 2 or 3 in the next 5 years and they become sort of the elite franchise, you can go back to being that. But I think you can't do that in an era that like where you said these kids don't demand that, and then you're losing. So because you haven't like earned the right in these kids' minds to be that stringent. I think you get to be that stringent with the success. But like when you can no longer go, hey, is this thing contributing to our success or is this thing keeping us from being successful? Right. I think you have to look. And listen, man, like shout out to Hal Steinbrenner, because like you were saying, like you like it, it's a tradition. I think there's a lot of Yankee fans that felt that way. Like I talked to a lot of people, I heard from a lot of people, I saw like a lot of people doing like posts on social media who were like against it. And it shocked me because I thought everyone would be like, about fucking time,
no, man.
Because we talked about this on this pod a while back. I don't know if you remember, where I said I think they're gonna have to change this policy at some point in time, and it might have been in the last 6 months to a year where we talked about that on this pod. And I'm like,
I'm sure I was like, fuck that.
It was probably when Soto left or whatever, where I was talking about like, hey, I like at some point this is gonna cost you a big free agent because some guy's gonna go. I think. Like what you were saying before about like the money you get, I think everyone gives the money now, and what happens is even if they don't match New York money, if you have to live in New York City, you're giving up the vast majority of your income to taxes, right? So if the Yankees go, hey, we're gonna give you 10 years, $600 million, but the Florida Marlins go, well, we'll give you 10 years at $450, and you do the math, and you're like, well, fuck, I'm going to spend the difference. I get to keep most of that 450 versus being in New York City where now I'm giving up 50% of it or whatever.
Yeah, bro. It's like federal, state, and city tax.
Yeah, once you do the math, it's like, well, now the money, you sort of lose that advantage you had as being the team that was willing to spend more.
Right.
I think you got to start going like, well, fuck, what else can we do? Because, dude, what was the last big free agent the Yankees got? Like, Soto came through a trade. Right, and then he didn't re-sign.
Yep.
Giancarlo Stanton has been a few years. He's been there 5 or 6 years, and I think he came there via trade.
I think he was. Well, I mean, obviously, Judge was the last big signing, right? Because they gave him the extension.
But they already had him.
Yeah, but I got to think Stanton, right?
But Stanton was a trade too. I'm almost positive, bro.
Yeah.
I think they inherited a fat contract from the Marlins for Stanton too.
They did.
So I don't think they've signed a Garrett Cole might be the last big free agent.
Cole, yeah,
and Garrett Cole had a beard and all that. But I think the difference is to your point before, Garrett Cole grew up a diehard Yankees fan, and he knew that going to them.
Yeah, he's like
doing that.
He's like, yeah, cut all this off.
He was like, I don't give a fuck. Like he grew up,
and like I love that. Bro.
I want to see. I think he grew up in New Jersey, so I don't. But Garrett Cole grew up like, no, I'm the Yankees fan. I've always wanted to play. This is my dream. Yeah. I want to fucking die here. Like I never want to leave. And he was willing to do anything.
Yeah.
I don't know when the last big free agent the Yankees. Listen, I do too, but I also recognize like we have to attract other players, and we already at a disadvantage by being a Yankee. You're at a disadvantage of the media already scrutinizes you more. You're at a disadvantage because you are against that state tax and living in New York City, and a lot of people don't want to deal with that. You're at a disadvantage because like the expectation is so high because Yankee fans, it's like World Series or bust. Like. Yeah. And so with that comes the media, comes the like I go, most people want to be like, I just want to go fucking hide in Colorado and make my $400 million a year. Why do I want to sign up for that? I can live a stress-free. Dude, if you're a big time free agent in Major League Baseball and you're going to get a $600 million contract from any team and winning is irrelevant to you, you go, I could go sign in Denver. I could go sign in St. Louis. I could go live in a very small market, not a lot of media scrutiny. No one will recognize me in the mall outside of that city. Yeah. Why wouldn't I do that?
But dude, I think that when you're at the highest level and teams really want you, I would hope that you want all the smoke. Like, yeah, put me in the middle of New York City and let me cook.
Well, those are the people that are built a little different, right?
Yeah,
like,
no
like
doubt.
But like me, to your point, like my ego goes like, yeah, put me in the fucking toughest situation possible because I'm gonna do it because you tell me I can't. You know what I mean? But
to your point, man, I was, as you were talking, I was thinking, like, I'm looking at my own children, right, and all of them have a lot of hair. You know, one of them has dreads halfway down his back. The other guy has, probably hair down to his shoulders. About how did the other two do, right? So, like, if those guys were elite athletes, right? Are they, I don't know that they're cutting off their hair to go play for the Yankees when they know they could get the same or somewhat equivalent money going somewhere else.
Dude, especially if they go, I would just want to live in New York and you can go be a Met. Not the same tradition, right? Obviously, not the same title, not the same pedigree.
To your point, they're 18, right? And they're going, okay, well, Yankees haven't been. I've only ever heard you talk about them, right?
Yeah.
And I know that
they ain't won one since I've been a kid. Yeah.
They ain't won shit, right? The Mets are building a fucking complex over there. It just sounds more exciting.
Dude, the last time the Yankees won a World Series, my daughter was a month old, and she's 15 now. She'll be 16 this year.
Was that 09?
Yeah.
Fuck.
And then they made it to the World Series this past year, and that was the last time they had even made it to one, right? So, like, if you think about, our kids, our teenagers, they're going, they're not the dynasty to me. They're...
It's funny, man. So I was born in 74. But the first, other than like when I was a kid, Reggie Jackson was like, I had posters of Reggie Jackson in my room.
But he didn't win a title, right? With them, 70?
No, I think he did. He did win.
The 78? Was he part of that 78 team? Okay, yeah.
But then after that, it was
96.
Yeah.
They went from 78 to 96, yeah. But if you think about it, bro, do the math. They're getting close to that now.
Yeah.
At the time, I remember going like, wow, that's so far, right? But right now, 78 to 96, we're like 2-3 years away from that.
Yeah.
And it'd be the same amount of time that would have passed since between World Series titles. Like,
but then they went on that fucking
they went on a tear, right? Which
fucking dynasty,
which put them in our generation, like for like the millennials of like they're the dynasty, they're the all-time great baseball, and obviously people in the 60s, 70s, 50s, like they have, whatever, they won like 6 in a row at some point in time or something crazy like that. Like there is the tradition, the history that goes with that. But I think if you were born in the last 20 years, like they won one. Like the Red Sox have won 3 or whatever since then. The Rays have been to more. The Astros have won 2 or 3. There's other teams that they would look at. The Cardinals, I think, have won 2 in that time span. There isn't the Dodgers have won 2 in that time. There isn't a dominant baseball team other than the Astros were probably the team, and the Red Sox have won more. It's funny, man. Like we grew up in an era where the Red Sox were cursed. Right, but if you were born in the last 20 years, you're like, holy fuck, the Red Sox have won like 3 or 4 World Series in the last 20 years, right?
Have they really?
I'm almost positive at least 3. At least 3, right? But I grew up in an era where I got to make fun of them because they hadn't won one in 100 years, right? Like, so, but if you were born in the last 20, even 15 years, you get to go, well, fuck, they've won like 3 in the last, And
then the worst part about them getting off the snide was that they came back from fucking 3-0.
A historic deficit. Fuck, I blame Gary Sheffield for that.
Man. It is absolutely.
I blame Gary Sheffield.
It is his fault, bro.
Fuck Gary Sheffield.
Fuck Gary Sheffield, bro. You're not a real Yankee anyway.
Dude, and it's funny, man. I know we're going too long on the Yankees, so some people have already tuned this out. But I saw this thing about Ken Griffey Jr. Remember Ken Griffey Jr.? Yeah. Could have absolutely been a Yankee at some point in time, young in his career, right? Could have been an all-time and then a Yankee. But there's a story about how Steinbrenner, somebody in the Yankees, had treated him when he was his dad was a visitor, and Ken Griffey was a kid, and he was there. And like I guess Ken Griffey was in a dugout or something, and somebody came over and said, "Hey, the owner doesn't want you being in the dugout. Like no kids on the field. You need to get up and go." And I guess Ken Griffey Sr. was like, all right, well, I'll take my kid out. But he looks over, and one of the Yankees like kids was taking like ground balls at third, like they were letting him participate.
Yeah.
And I remember him thinking like, and he said his dad beat into him like, you know, like, look at that shit. Like, they wanted us out of here, and yada. And then it became like this thing of like, yo, if you didn't want kids here, cool. But as long as the rule applies to everybody.
Correct.
And so he was like, yo, remember how people treat you. And then
not for nothing, wasn't, you know what, like to make it even worse, right? And I'm making this up. But if that kid was like a white kid, right? You know what I'm saying? And
yeah, it makes it even worse.
It makes it even worse.
Yeah, they haven't had a great history of having.
Correct.
You're either Puerto Rican, Dominican, or white. But he goes. There was a point in time where he said, if the Yankees were the last team on earth that could afford to sign me, and they were the only team that offered me a contract, I would just retire. And then people were like, wow. Oh, you're just saying that. And he goes, then you don't know me. And he'd always talked about, like, my dad beat into me and principle, and there's certain things that you grow up with. And my dad was always, like, very adamant about how you treat people and how they treated me, and always was, like livid about how they did that. And he goes, I would never, ever play for the Yankees, like, ever.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's wild. Somebody
Dude, it's funny, man, the things that, like, as a kid that just stick with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, I don't know, man. Good for them for finally letting people. I guess I'm a very big proponent of just letting people look and be who they are. Like, I understand there are appearances to things. There are certain ways that you want to present your business and that sort of thing. We're talking about pro sports here, like, you know, like, and no one's looking at Aaron Judge and going like, oh, but he grew out a goatee, so you know.
Right. And most people don't care.
Yeah, so. Fucking finally. I know you hate it, but finally.
It's fine. If they win, I'll get over it. Winning cures everything.
Winning cures all, bro.
As a fucking fan, bro, winning cures everything.
It's so true, bro. If they win this World Series this year, you'll be like, thank God they covered that rule.
I'll be like, all of you fuckers grow out your hair like Samson.
Dude, because Jazz Chisholm, who's a young kid, doesn't, and they just traded for it. And I remember him kind of being like, oh, does that mean? And you know, he had to cut a little bit of his hair and shave and stuff, but he was sort of excited. But I think he had a relationship with Derek Jeter already when he was in Miami, and I think Derek was able to sort of, like, you know, talk to him about the Yankee way and yada yada yada. And he was like, yeah, fuck it, I don't care. Like, I want to go be part of that organization.
Yeah. And they almost did it, man. Mm-hmm. They almost did it.
They should have. I saw Nestor Cortez talking too much shit this week. I'm like, bro.
I did too. Like, yo, man, talk to me about this church subscription, bro.
Yo, there's a church. And I'm going to let you guess the state.
Please don't.
That requires you to have a subscription to attend service. And they've been sending collection notices.
To what?
To attend the church or to be a Christian.
What's the subscription?
Oh, I got to look at the amount of money.
No.
It's to be a member of the church. You're subscribing to be a member of the church and to be a Christian.
Oh, so you got to give your you got
to give your dues.
This is a way to give you monthly tithes.
Sort of, but it's also like a way to go to that church. Otherwise, you're not welcome because you're not paying. Yeah,
you're not paying.
I kind of get it as a business person. Like, everything is moving now to recurring revenue. That's subscription models.
They be like, we know you subscribe to Spotify. Why you don't subscribe to us?
Dude, it's and oddly enough, so I Googled church subscription. A lot of them come up, bro.
Get the fuck out.
But the story and the Church of Latter-day Saints has a subscription online, and then some of these try to hide them behind church magazines, but which is kind of hilarious. But this one in particular, Wayne, news because this woman was basically put on collections because she hadn't renewed her dues.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah. And so they put her through collections and all that, and then wouldn't allow her to come because she hadn't paid her dues. It's like, yo, we offer salvation.
She does not cheat.
Not for deadbeats. It's fucking crazy.
Oh, man.
That's amazing, bro.
I love religion.
Yeah, man. So you can't be mad, man. Every once in a while, there's a story that pisses me off as to why I didn't start my own church. And this is one of them. I was like, fuck, I should have started a church. Scientology, bro, wasn't a thing when you were born, probably, or maybe it was.
Well, I'm probably not when I was born.
Ron L. Hubbard was the worst author of all time, and then started a fucking religion.
You just fucking reminded me, bro. I fucking had I was in like, I think it was like in 6th grade, either 6th grade or 8th grade. Mm-hmm. And I used to have this dude in my class, man, that he would sit in the front and he would try to act like studious, but we all found it like hilarious.
Because he wasn't a kid that was studious?
No.
Okay.
And the teacher fucking asked the class like, hey, can you can you name a famous author? This motherfucker raises his hand and she's like, oh, his guy's name was Mark. She's like, oh, Mark. And he goes, yeah, he goes, yes, L. Ron Hubbard. And bro, we started fucking rolling and I'm just like, why do I know that name?
He's written the most amount of words of any author ever, I think.
Well, so my classmate next to me goes, yeah, that's the fucking guy that wrote Dianetics. Now,
yes,
I knew zero about Scientology.
Yeah.
There was a commercial back then.
About Dianetics?
For Dianetics. And it was like this volcano erupting. And it was like, Dianetics by L. Ron Hubbard. That's all I fucking knew as a kid. I knew nothing about Scientology.
Why was the volcano erupting?
I don't know.
Yo, that's amazing. Oh, that's so good, man. Bro, I'm almost positive Ron L. Hubbard is in the Guinness Book of World Records for the most words written for an author all time. Dude, you know me. I retain useless information.
Is that like their Bible? Yeah. Dianetics?
Ooh, good question. It might be, bro. Most words, I'm going to Google most words written by an author. I'm almost positive it's L. Ron Hubbard. Oh, Charles, it's 100 million. Charles Hamilton. Hold on. I thought it was L. Ron Hubbard. Yeah, no, no.
Somebody told you.
Maybe he has the most like published piece of work. He's something, bro. But it's like something crazy. But the reason I remember it's because he's also a terrible writer. Like, have you ever read his writings?
No. I've never read
bro, it sounds like a kid who got hit by a garbage truck wrote it, and they're like in rehab, and they're trying to learn how to talk again and remember words. It's fucking awful, bro. You ever even read Dianetics?
No.
You won't even get through a chapter.
Why would I?
It's fucking, no, because it's fascinating, bro. Dude, you've never been curious?
Should, bro.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, I probably should.
The guy wrote a book that successful people follow, right, and will give their life to, and for whatever reason, this is the thing that convinced them to do that.
And it's a cult.
And it's a cult. Yeah, it's a cult. Yeah. And every religion is a cult, right?
Yes,
but,
you're right. True.
But you're talking about in modern day times, it's the only one that's broken through, right? Like at this level in the last 60 years, 50 years, whatever it has been since science. And
I mean, at least Jesus walked on water.
Yeah, which is
I don't know what.
You know what's awesome?
What L. Ron?
Now that you said that, it reminded me of the Yankee shit we were talking about before. Lou Piniella was a Yankee in the 70s, and he said, hey, man, Jesus had a beard and long hair to Steinbrenner. And Steinbrenner goes, well, walk across that pond there, and I'll let you have whatever the fuck you want.
That's dope. And he was pointing to the East River.
He was pointing, yeah. Oh man, but dude, that you gotta read that shit. You have to.
Yeah, I gotta check it out.
Yeah.
But the whole subscription thing is that's fucking. Listen, that's like next level. That's just like coming into the time.
Should you lose your a nonprofit status if you do that, and not and have to pay income tax like any other business and all that?
No, because you still need money to operate the church, right? And so if they just go, no, this is our way to collect money to continue to operate, right? And so no, I don't think you should. Listen, I think that whole thing is probably not good for most, right? I think it's taken advantage of in a lot of cases.
Yeah, there's people buying plots in heaven, bro.
Yeah, bro. So like,
which that pisses me off that I didn't think of that. It's kind of a fucking genius idea if you think about it. You sell people like real estate in heaven, and they can't come back and fight you on it.
Who's doing that? I feel like I've heard this.
Yeah, there are people selling like plots of heaven online. There's websites and stuff that do it, and you can go in there and you can buy and you can get a plot of land in heaven.
Does the property value increase over time?
Yeah, it does. The fuller it gets,
sell that shit.
the more time goes out, you better hurry up and die. It's getting full up there. It's property value's going up. It depends on the part of heaven you're in. If you're with like the cool people, like Jimi Hendrix and what's his name, Gene Hackman. It costs a little more money to be in that neighborhood.
Dude, Gene Hackman died, man.
Yeah.
Right?
In the most non-mysterious fucking way.
Fucking too soon?
It's never too soon. He's like 100 years old, bro.
Dude's 95.
Yeah, we
bro.
can make fun of Gene Hackman die.
But they didn't. What happened?
Him and
No
his
one
wife
knows.
and the dog died, which tells me either one of them lost their shit and killed them and then themselves, or carbon monoxide. Like one of the two, right?
So
has to be.
So if somebody lost their shit, who lost their shit? I'm thinking it's Gene Hackman. It's not his wife.
Oh, do you think he was ill or one of them was sick and was like, yeah, fuck it. Yo, if he's 90 something years old and he's like sick and he's just like, yo, you're not enjoying my money without me. Like, fuck you.
Right.
And he goes like, or was she 90 something too?
No, she was 65.
Oh, I can't tell because she's
30.
Asian, so she could have been 32 or 111. You know, these Asian bitches don't age at all. They look 12 till they're like 74.
I'm gonna go with 37 for 200.
I don't know what it is, bro, but I think whatever chemical is in nail polish keeps these bitches young. I know it smells like it should kill you, but I think it's the fountain of youth.
But no, man. So they were found in their home. So here's a question for you, bro. Mm-hmm. If you so you are. No, fuck that. Do you want your spouse to die with you?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. No follow-up questions.
Your Honor.
Yeah, yes.
No further questions.
There's nowhere you could go with that where I'm going to go like, nah. You know how people be like, oh, I would want them to be happy? No. The happiest you will ever be is with me.
I don't know if I'm that selfish, bro.
Fuck you, I am.
Dude, for me, I don't know if I care that much. I don't know if I care that much, bro.
We'll edit that out.
If I'm fucking dead, I don't think I care that much.
Yeah. Nah, I care. Nope. Dude, especially if you feel like you funded some of the life after you're gone. Ain't nobody having fun on my cool while I'm out of here. No. I don't even want my kids to have fun when I'm
burn down the whole fucking house.
That. I'm giving all my money to orphans.
Nah, fuck them too.
I'm giving it to whatever organization Gene Hackman and his fucking
Wasn't some like dog organization?
Yeah,
he was involved in some like pet shit.
It's weird because some of the other dogs survived that were there, so that's the carbon monoxide thing. That ends up being weird because it's like, why did the rest of the dogs? There's a shit ton of dogs in their house, and only one of them died with them.
Okay.
So maybe it was like the one that they were like, favorite. They were like, yeah, either the favorite or he was on his last leg too, and they're like, yeah, fuck it, let's take this one out. The rest of them will be fine. I don't know, it's like a mercy kill.
You gonna take him to heaven with us?
Yeah, or you know, it'd be super crazy, bro. If like the dog is sick and like he walks in on her putting the dog down, like, you know, and then he gets pissed off and then he offs her and then himself, or caught her trying to turn it into a meal. And he was like, bro, you've been here long enough.
Where do you think you're at, bitch?
You know how long ago I moved you here?
She's losing her shit.
The Alzheimer's is kicking in. She's resorting back to her own ways.
Time to go, bitch.
See, you can take a bitch out of Cambodia. But you can't. She's like, ooh, I haven't had Lisha Opsa in a while.
I hate that I know that there are some Asians that eat dogs.
It's not racist if it's true. Plus, the way we're going in America right now, I think we're allowed to say anything about anybody that's not from here.
Yep. What's the new fucking language of America?
It's officially English is the official language of the United States now. It's
Dude, I didn't know
executive order
by Mr. Trump.
Yeah,
I didn't know that wasn't a thing. I thought that was
no, because it's kind of the whole premise of America is that everybody talks everything else. Now English is like the official language of the world. Because like if you're a pilot, you have to know English because that's how you communicate with like towers and stuff, right? So it's like English is sort of the world recognized like official language, if you will. But America never adopted an official language because the whole point was that we're this experiment of this melting pot. Of
but then why would everything sort of government funded be in English?
I mean, because you have to kind of default to something, I guess, right?
Yeah,
but
you figure that
also,
would be the
depending on what state you're in, right? Shit's in English, Spanish, and then Asian or Asian, Chinese, Mandarin, whatever. God damn it! That one's gonna cost
like 10 languages over there.
That one's gonna cost me. Fuck. Let's bleep that one out. Asian. Like what language exactly?
It's like saying African.
Oh man, yeah, I know. Fuck. That sounded so stupid. You know when you say something as it's leaving your mouth, you're like, "Yo, come back."
But dude, the it kind of brought me to like thinking, do you want, like, why would you want the language of your oppressors?
Yeah, like, yo, you fucking fought to break yourself away from England,
right?
And then now we're like, yeah, we retained the language, we did all, and then yeah.
And I'm sure people from England,
language of the colonizers.
Do they even know, or do they even think that what we speak is English?
Nah, they make fun of it.
I would imagine so.
Well, they also do it wrong. They add extra letters and stuff that they don't need to. Like, they're mad because we made it more efficient. Yeah, like the color is like O-U-R instead of O-R. It's like, the fuck out of here, bro. Like,
but
that's
if you think about other countries, right? Like Haiti, right? They don't speak French. They just speak sort of like a dialect of French. It's Creole.
Yeah, they
right?
made their own shit. Yeah.
Yeah. We should have made our own shit.
Yeah.
We kind of did, but not really.
Bro, we're too busy making electricity and cars and shit, helping the rest of the world. No, we ain't got time for that.
Listen, Ebonics, bro.
That should have been. Hip hop does rule everything. Yeah.
That should just be the official language of the United States. Ebonics. Fuck it. We're gonna separate ourselves from everybody.
You just say, yeah, I'm with this, bro. But then Ebonics is based off of English words, Ebonics in every language.
But so is Creole based on French.
Okay.
Right?
So you just
bastardize it. You just go like, nah, like, fuck you. We're gonna make our own shit.
That would be kind of amazing, because then you could pull up to like the what's the summit? Is it G5?
Oh, it's one of those G's.
Yeah, and you could just roll up in there and be like, yo, I heard you was talking that shit.
What's the translation? They heard you were saying nonsense.
They heard you were saying. Fucking talking to Zelensky, you better have that same energy you had when you was in your little TV show. That shit would be kind of funny, man. I saw them berating the fucking president of the UK, Zelensky, in the Oval Office, which I never thought in my life I would see.
Dude, the arguing?
Oh my God, bro. Politicians.
Turn the cameras off, bro.
Bro, like, yo, can y'all cut this off? We got to have a conversation with this dude that should be probably had in private. Also, there's never a time where I'm more embarrassed about our president than when Trump goes off on his tangent, because you know his vocabulary is so limited. So he'd be like, this could go very bad for you. He knows like no big words to use. He sounds like me at a fucking, like doing anything. Like, bro, what?
Trump's in there like, wait a minute, do you speak Asian?
Yo, I think this is part of the appeal, right? Is that he talks like most people, like most stupid people, and he's a billionaire, right? So it's like, I think people look at this guy and go like, he talks just like me, and you're like, that's not what we want, bro. Right. It's like, but he's like berating him, and I'm going, oh my God, this sounds like an argument you would have with like a girlfriend. Like the shit he's saying, it's like incoherent and it makes no sense. And he's just like, this could be very good, and you're not making it very good. This is very bad, and you're just going off, and you're like, you didn't even say anything intelligent in that whole fucking thing, bro.
But what was the whole shit?
I don't even know.
You don't even know?
I don't even know.
I thought it was about the money that we were giving.
Yeah, it has something to do with, basically, he wants him to sign a peace treaty and ceasefire.
Like a ceasefire, right?
And then Zelensky's like, nah. Like, but basically Trump's like, yo, we're giving you which I understand that point. Yo, we're giving you the money. We're funding your whole shit. Yep. And he's like, yo, you're out here walking around with America's dick, not yours. Like, because we're funding you, and it's easy to be ballsy when we're giving you weapons and we're giving you shit. Like, so I understand that point. But to me, it's like, yo, this is an embarrassing look for, I don't want to say America, just for grown men, for politicians, for who are in a position of power to have these discussions. It's like, that's not how you want that to play out in a public forum.
Right.
And so I think Zelensky's thing is like, nah. And also, it doesn't help the argument that people think that Trump is kind of like a Russian sort of puppet. Right. And this sort of like feeds into that narrative. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just that if you believe that, it sort of leans into that. The same way, like, if you believe he's a little racist, the whole him changing, you know, like the language, and then the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, like, people are like, the Gulf of America, you're like, nah, that makes sense, bro. It's here, bro. What you call that? And then you're like, he's making English the official language of the United States. And you're like, I'm not really sure why that matters right now. But since people think he's racist, maybe he's a little racist. You're like, it just makes you think about it, because you're like, why is your energy being spent on shit like this? Why are you renaming the Gulf? Right. Like, these are things you're signing executive orders for. Right. And meanwhile, you know, like, we can't find eggs. You know, like,
I was just gonna say the egg thing, man.
And I think, like,
dude, I stopped buying.
I've placed orders from like I'll bulk order some shit sometimes to come. I've placed bulk orders twice now, and it gets canceled. The egg portion, they won't deliver them. They're like, we're out. They're out.
Not for nothing,
man. It's hilarious.
The fucking carton of egg whites.
Oh, that's what you've been doing? Yeah. It's funny.
Like, it's stupid, bro.
And I know that's an oversimplification, but also, I think that it's you know, like, you've seen the layoffs of the workers. You've seen you know, I guess 12,000, and I understand if you tell us, most of us would agree the government's inefficient and it's probably over staffed and yada yada, and but there's a certain way to go about those things that isn't.
Yeah, it's probably not to. It's, you know, I feel like the way that he's going about it is almost like, I'm just gonna rip the Band-Aid off. Yeah. When in reality, it's just like, okay, well, when you do that, like, you're actually ripping some of the scab off too, so it's bleeding.
You're causing bleeding further, right? Yeah, because he had to call people back because they basically figured out, oh fuck, like, we needed this 10. Thing that feeds this also feeds this other stuff, so they didn't take the time to learn, right? So it tells you, it's like, oh, maybe there was a portion of this department or of this bill or of this what do you call that, like a sector that you thought was inefficient and a waste of money, but what they didn't take the time to learn was like, oh, but that also is the reason why kids who come from low income families can get free lunch, and that's also the thing that feeds, you know, them on weekends and provides like backpacks with lunches and dinners, and then it was the thing that gave, you know, like, books to this thing, and it was like. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, that's too bad. That's not their fault, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, sure. That's nice to say, but there's also like, if you're a government and the people are paying into, like, if you're paying federal taxes, right, and you're like, hey, that's to fund schools, and if you're a poor family and you are still paying taxes too, and some of that you're receiving back in aid, in whether it's school lunch and yada yada yada, like, you're also entitled to this thing, right? Because we don't get an itemized receipt for our taxes, right? We're assuming whatever portion we put in pays for some of the benefits we get, whether it's a road we use or, you know, schools or whatever, right? So it's like, you can't just cut these programs out that are meaningful to some people and not have sort of a solution to offset that. And I think what it showed was that they were too quick to sort of pull the trigger, and they didn't really take a look at what it was that they were killing. You know, it's like,
here's where I think that this could go. And essentially, I don't want to even call it good or bad. If they start cutting checks, because there's talk about giving refunds
because they've saved money.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
we'll forget.
They save money. That's it right there, bro. We will fucking, like, just we as a people will be like, that's what we'll remember.
Yeah, we'll be like, them kids' parents should have had better jobs and paid for their lunches.
Yep, we're gonna be like, I got, because they're talking about like $5,000. And again, I don't know if that's
probably won't happen.
Probably not. Yeah. But if it does, if they're able to pull that off, there's gonna be a lot of people that's gonna go like, "Yo, I got 5 Gs back." It'll go from, "Oh, he's losing 12,000 jobs," to I got $5,000. And I think that's kind of the dangerous part, man. Where it's like we will overlook shit
because it doesn't affect
we get
us.
A benefit like that.
Well, and it doesn't affect us, right? Like what you're seeing is, and listen, I think we're getting exactly what we voted for, right? Like it said, hey, we're gonna cut government inefficiency, yada yada yada, like right. So we're getting that, right? And unfortunately, as part of that, you do end up losing jobs and you do stuff because like the problem is like most of us you hear we're gonna do all this stuff and you don't sort of do the math as to what it takes to do something like that. Hey, we're going to save money as a government. Well, the best way to save money as a government, you cut budgets. You cut budgets, you mean you got to cut jobs because, so it's like the common sense tells you that's where it's going, right? So you empathize with those people who lost their jobs because there obviously are a lot of people that voted for Trump. And it's just like, hey, yeah, you're sort of like I don't want to call it a casualty of war, but in a way you sort of are. It's friendly fire, right? Yeah. But long term, you would hope you're okay. I think we were talking a little bit off air about like if you do this for a corporation, right? If you're Disney and Disney lays off people all the time, there's generally a rollout of those layoffs, and then there's like severance packages, and there's like ways. Like you and I have been in scenarios where the company has offered a way to sort of get you re-employed somewhere else, like and.
So they don't come off as heartless.
Correct. And so I think
it's coming off as very, very heartless.
And I think where the difference is between like a corporation and the government is that these are elected officials that the people put in place. And so I think that they owe it to those same people to go, whether you employ them or not, to go, we're cutting your job, and we can either find another place to put you within the federal government in a more efficient role, or we'll figure out a way to give you skills to be more employable. Because like we were talking before about, hey, $5,000 per American, why not take that same amount of money and go, hey, we're going to ensure, like we love our people so much, right? Like if we're so patriotic, we love our Americans so much, and yes, we have to lay off 12,000 of you, but we want to make sure you land on your feet. So we're either going to give you the severance package, like that gets you through this time, and we're going to get you in some kind of programs that give you skills to find a new job or do all that stuff. Like why wouldn't you reinvest that money then into placing these individuals? And so you didn't, but you didn't because you were so quick to the trigger that you didn't think this through. You didn't think of a way. You just wanted to be quick to go, we don't need this, cut it. And they literally did it overnight. Yeah. And they didn't factor in, and this is what happens when you have an autistic guy in charge of fucking government, bro.
Shit makes sense.
Fucking Elon Musk goes up there and goes like, fuck it, that doesn't make. Dude, I also think there's gonna be something in this whole thing that leads to an impeachment at some point in time.
Yeah, you think so?
And I think it leads to Elon getting charged or something. Bro, there's some weird shit going on here. You know how much I like Elon.
Yeah.
I definitely think Trump earned that second election.
I like him as an
entrepreneur,
an innovator, a businessman. Absolutely. I didn't ask him to be in government. But go ahead.
But there is something odd and thing with Elon where I'm like, man, there's got to be, and you hear enough grumblings about him potentially being in legal trouble, and this is why he was so invested in Trump winning the election.
Okay.
And then I think if you're Trump, you can only abuse your power for so long where you keep signing. Like I get doing an executive order to do something that really helps Americans, but when you're starting to do things that come off like, are you helping your buddies? Are you doing it to help your family? Are you doing it to benefit your business in the long term? Are you doing it out of pettiness? Are you doing it, like at some point in time, I think we're going to find out that dude's going to get himself into trouble here because it feels, the Trump ego, it feels very much like he's doing shit because he can. And he thinks he's sort of like bigger than the system. And obviously like a lot of his convictions have sort of gone away because he got elected president, and so I think they had to like sort of just let them go. I feel like he finds himself back into a position where he ends up getting impeached or something wild happens. Like I don't know, like if he's up there just letting Elon run shit in this whole DOGE, like it just seems strange to me, man. And then even Elon being this invested seems strange to me. I go, there's something there. It doesn't add up. Like why Trump would put up with this shit. Like Trump doesn't fucking like anybody. And he's sort of letting Elon take spotlight. Even when you're watching their press conferences together, like fucking Elon is standing up and Trump is sitting down. Yeah, Trump's an egomaniac, bro. Like, there's nothing about him that allows him to be second fiddle, that allows him to be right hand man. And he's sort of letting Elon, like, it just psychologically doesn't make sense to me. I think we're going to find out some wild shit in this whole thing as this all plays out. I mean, and as an American, I hope this shit all makes sense and we're all in a great place. Like, fucking 6 months from now, we have the greatest economy ever and all that, you know, like, who knows? But
or maybe just like everything else, you know how Elon makes everything seem really fucking simple.
Yeah.
Seem like the most complex thing.
Yeah.
When he explains it, I wonder if there's some of that too, where you just go, yo, this dude's on another wavelength of brain power. I am.
So I do agree that we both know that our government is so inefficient at most things, right? Like, and we've all been to a DMV and done stuff. I think also, man, it is very easy to lose sight of the fact that our roads are mostly fine. Mostly, those are government services, right? Like,
they take long.
But like our electrical grid, I know that's privatized and all that stuff, right? But there's some hand in hand with government stuff. Like, our schools, for the most part, operate day to day. Yep. Just fine. Traffic systems operate. You know, like, there's a lot of things that operate on government where we take for granted that I'm like, actually works kind of fine. And it works so well that we forget that the government's in charge of them.
Right.
And so while I do think that there is that, like you said, he's so smart, and I do think for sure, bro, maybe more than half the money the government spends is unnecessary. It's unnecessary and it's inefficient and it's all that stuff. I don't disagree with that, but I think that it's like a giant ball of yarn that's all intertwined, that is reliant. Like, there's a thing that's necessary intertwined with a thing that isn't necessary, intertwined with another thing. And so I think what happens is you get an autistic kid who just goes, fuck it, set the ball of yarn on fire. And you go, yo, but I need this thread. And he's like, set it on fire. Like, yeah. And we're going to find out, like, yo, he was right about this other shit. But there's going to be casualties in that were unnecessary. Yeah. I think is what's going to happen.
No, and I agree. I think this kind of goes back to how we have things one way, and then we overcorrect we sort of overcorrect like really hard the other way, and then but I think over time, man, we'll end up in the middle.
Yeah, it always happens, right? We do an overcorrection every time. Yep. Like, for us to get to the middle, we almost have to overcorrect to the other side to correct the right way. But it just seems so weird, and also so different from the first term. And it's so early to tell, like, whether or not this is a good term or bad term. Like, I don't know, right? Like, it's way too early. It just seems like the energy being spent right now isn't on things that we think we're like, like the whole Gulf of America thing is like, people going on tangents on Facebook. It's like, who fucking cares? Like, oh, it'll always be the Gulf of Mexico to me. It's
okay,
like,
man.
No one refers to it as the Gulf of Mexico. We call it the Gulf. If you live in Florida, if you live in Alabama, if you live in Texas, you just call it the Gulf. And you're only allowed to have an opinion on that shit if you live somewhere there, or Louisiana, or fucking what's the other? Mississippi is on there. Like, I mean, no one else in America talks about the Gulf.
It's a body of water,
ever.
Bro.
It's a body of water.
Relax.
Yeah. So relax. Like, people on Facebook need to feel important, and they need to feel like they're suddenly like these political pundits, and shit happens and they got to comment and talk all this shit, and it's like, okay, cool, like, that's cute. And then even with the DEI thing, man, like, you see all these people with like all these opinions, like, that's cute. Suddenly everyone's a DEI expert and yada yada, and it's like, yeah, they overcorrected with that too. Like,
dude, you know, the funny thing with the DEI thing is that I don't know that it matters so much, because I think that, or not, I know that we've seen the sort of trend of the minority becoming the majority, right in this country, right? And so DEI is gonna become important anyway. Like, if you're a white guy that owns a business, you can't thrive. Your business can't thrive without support from minorities. You're gonna have to acknowledge what the minorities want and need in order to be successful in this country. And if
we're about to find that out because we've fucking deported so many people.
No, but it's true. So it's like over time, like, we're already there where it's almost like a 50-50 thing, and the trend is that the minority groups are growing, and so eventually they're gonna be the majority, and so you can't ignore them.
Right.
You can't ignore them and go, oh wait, this is our way. Like you're gonna have to cater to their needs if you want to be successful. So whether you want to embrace DEI or not, guess what? You're gonna do it eventually anyway.
Yeah, but I think the thing is that like people only look at that and look at the sort of the race component of it. They didn't look at the disability component of it. They don't look at the gender component of it. They don't look at the fact that your job can't discriminate against you because you're gay or you're a religion, of a certain religion or whatever. You know, like I'm not saying I'm pro or against the. It's just like I get infuriated with like the experts all of a sudden that you see online. It's like everyone all of a sudden wants to talk about DEI one way or another, and all they do is regurgitate the shit that whatever Facebook algorithm feeds them or their TikTok algorithm feeds them. It's like, bro, just shut the fuck up and just the reason everything is the way it is right now, and it seems to work pretty fucking well, is because these programs are in place, and minorities don't want these programs to be in place. They've had to be. Like, it's like we prefer to live in a world where you don't have. Yeah, we prefer where common sense prevailed, and we went, hey, we need ramps so people can get their wheelchairs into a fucking building. Common sense should tell us that, right? Yeah. Unfortunately, that's not the world we live in, and so we have to tell businesses, hey, you got to have a fucking ramp so a person with a wheelchair can get into your building, right? If you like, it's like that's not how we operate as people. So then we have to sort of embed it into the law. Like but people look at the eye and all they thought about was like the racial component of it, and it doesn't help sort of the space and time that we're in right now, because you're looking at the whole Gulf of America thing, and you're looking at the whole English as the primary language, and you're looking at like it's like if you're a person who believed that the administration was racist, they've given you nothing but fuel, right? And it's and I'm not saying that's right or wrong. It's just that what it does is allows CNN to keep regurgitating shit and stay relevant, and it allows Fox, the other side allows Fox to stay relevant and keep spewing bullshit and keep having high ratings, because you get just enough to sort of keep both sides fired up and angry and focus on shit that isn't important, like the name of a body of water. Like,
it's been the same forever.
Yeah, and it will continue to be. That's why I find it funny. I go like, this week it's fucking Gulf of America. That's next week it'll be some the fucking gallon of milk. The week after that it'll be some other shit. And then meanwhile we're over there like fucking pillaging some village in the somewhere that we've never heard of, because we found out that they have oil. It's like we're always just focused on the wrong shit. Which again, we shouldn't give a fuck either, because we consume the oil and we need it and it's to our benefit, and I get that. And so like the other part of us goes, we want to be these like sort of like self-righteous and I guess philanthropic human beings and care for everybody, yada yada yada. But the shit we do on a day-to-day basis, like the phones we use and the cars we drive and all that shit, are just as fucking bad as anything else. So it's like we just pick and choose the shit we want to care about this week.
No,
man.
It's true, bro.
Yeah.
How we doing on time, bro?
No, we're an hour in already, man.
Oh shit,
fucking yapping about. I don't even know now.
All right, man. What you want to end with?
Ooh. Bro, there's so many, man, because I want to talk so much shit about people. Yo, did you see the OnlyFans creators fucking making more money than NBA players?
Dude, I saw the headline, and I was really shocked about that. I didn't read about it, but tell me this.
You were really shocked about that? I'm not.
Yeah, no. Like it's one of those things where I go like,
I'm gonna look. Wow, look at the number right now.
Wow, it's like, wow, really? But then, yeah, there's the other component where I'm just like, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, bro. So OnlyFans creators, in 2023, they earned $6.6 billion. With a B, $1 billion, which was more than the NBA's total player salaries of $4.9 billion, bro. It's not even close. It's a fucking $1.5 billion more. It's a $1.7 billion difference between the NBA players. So all OnlyFans creators. So if you have a kid right now who's good at a jumper, take the ball away from him, teach him how to fuck. Because
now that's funny you say that, man, because here I am thinking of just going like, okay. When I think about OnlyFans, I think about like, I don't know, chicks selling fucking videos of themselves, or fucking, right? It's porn, porn, like I don't know, the girl next door porn type shit, right?
Like amateur porn.
Is it all of that?
It's not all of that,
is?
but it's the grand majority of OnlyFans is adult performer. Like, it wasn't the premise, it wasn't the idea, it wasn't. It's like Patreon, right? Like a lot of podcasts, like us have Patreons, and OnlyFans is meant to be something similar. What's happened is, like OnlyFans has even done like roasts and they've done comedy specials and all that to try to sort of separate themselves. And I don't know if you remember like a couple years ago, they even tried to say no more porn. And that shit lasted like a day.
Yeah. Oh, I do remember that.
Remember that? Because they were getting investors in. And And again, when you go public or when you start taking PE money or when you start taking bank money, then banks have rules and things they have to stick to, yada, yada. Anyway, they had to get rid of porn. I think it lasted like a week. And then they had to basically allow people to start fucking on OnlyFans again. Because people started moving to like Fansly and all these other like platforms. Right. But like, it's fucking hilarious to me that basically all OnlyFans combined make more than an NBA player.
Dude, I would be interested to see how many OnlyFans accounts there are.
Oh my! I think there's something in the article that
as compared to NBA players, right? Obviously, there's going to be a whole lot more OnlyFans accounts. But I'd be curious to see what's the comparison.
Yo, I love the internet. Somebody said ain't no salary cap in OF. Dude, but there's the girl who's like the virgin makes like has made $50 million on there. Actually, no, I'm sorry.
What does she do?
Yeah, she's made $50 million on there.
What does she do?
She just puts pictures either of her naked or in bathing suits or in lingerie or just talk shit or whatever. Like, I don't know. She's not fucking, and she's made $50 million off not fucking. Which,
and essentially just based on her looks.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm assuming.
Yeah, of course, it's gonna be off her looks.
She can't sing, right? She can't like.
But I also think it's a product of OnlyFans. Man, if you think about it, it's almost counterintuitive. I think that because to your point earlier, girl next door is so accessible now, naked, right? Like if you see someone online or whatever, there's a very good chance that there's a video of them on the internet. And so I think what's happened is like it's removed the mystery from, like before it was like if you saw a celebrity or you saw a good looking girl and all that, like for most people you would have to like live with that visual in your head of imagining what that would be like. We actually have access now because there's a very good chance. Dude, there's something, the stat is something bananas. Like 1 out of every 5 girls or 4 girls between the ages of 18 and 25 has an OnlyFans. It's something really crazy, bro.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's insane, the number. Like,
is that right?
Yeah, bro. I'm gonna pull it up, bro, and because I'm almost positive I had it for what's the talk we were gonna have.
Sorry, say it again, man. What's the number?
I want to pull the right one, so give me a second. I'm gonna pull it, but I'm gonna put a number of girls that have OnlyFans.
That's fine. While you look that up,
yeah,
I'm just thinking, what if you're a decent looking woman, why wouldn't you?
No, I get it, bro. It's why wouldn't you?
And it's really it's the fucking dudes. It's us that's paying. Go ahead, go.
OnlyFans had 305 million. I'm just gonna use that number. Fan accounts, which is a 27% increase over 2022. This is 2023 numbers. It's almost a 28% increase. According to the Washington Examiner, 70% of Americans using OnlyFans are women. Right, so it makes sense. Found that 1.4 million American women are OnlyFans creators. And then the creators keep 80% of the fees. So it went further. So 2% of American women aged between 18 and 45 are creating content on the platform. So 18 to 45, that's 2%. But I think 18 to 30, 70% of that 2 million. Hold on. It's something really crazy. Like if you're 18 to 25, the number gets smaller and smaller. It's like 1 out of every 10 or something like that.
That's insane.
It's insane. It's crazy. And so, but I think what's happening, like you said, why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
Right? Like you would have to go, like you would have to feel like, oh, I have ethics and morals and I have some like self-respect and stuff. Right. Yada. But then you've also grown up in an era where everybody, no, but I also think it's not even that you don't have that. I think the definition of that is now skewed because it's like, well, everybody has it. So then where's the line? It's like, right. Do I have an OnlyFans where I just post lingerie? Like, is that bad? Or if I'm me in a bikini, that's fine. How's that different from me walking around a water park in a bikini?
Oh, dude, you can make
justify
anything okay, bro.
Yeah. We can justify to ourselves. ourselves. Like, I get that. And then you go, everybody hates their job, so why not get paid to do something I like? If I like to have sex with my partner online or multiple partners or just people at random, like, and I can monetize that, like I get it. I feel bad for the people who got to pick a wife out of that bunch. Like later on, dude, could you be with someone who's like, yo, everyone on the internet has seen me fuck, has seen me naked. Has seen me stuff.
No,
right?
No,
like it's tough. No. So I think what's gonna happen.
Could you imagine going out with somebody like that, and then they're seeing out in public, and then people making comments, or they or worse yet, wanting autographs, or you know what I mean? Like,
see, it would be either or. Like if you went out with someone like that and no one hit them up, you'd be like, yo, you suck at your job, right? And you're disappointed.
No wonder you put that page down.
Or everybody hits her up. You're like, wait a minute, I'm not that impressed with your performance. So what are you doing now? I gotta watch your video. But yeah, man, I was like, there's so many places to go with this.
It's so funny, man. Like when you watch, I don't know, like say if you watch porn, right? Like you could have the sort of the fantasy of being with that person, but in reality, right? Like that's not what you want.
Right. Yeah. It never plays out that same way, dude. The other thing too is like people, especially young people, are having less sex than ever before, which is ironic, right? Because we're filming the most sex, we're making the most amount of money from sex ever. We're sort of broadcasting and doing that stuff than ever. But people are having less sex, especially young people under 30. I think it was like 30 or 35 and under are having the least amount of sex we've ever had, at least as far as like when we've been tracking this.
Yeah.
And I think the part of the why that is, it's like the same reason everything else. It's like it's laziness. It's like
you don't need to.
You can just pull up OnlyFans.
That's right.
And you can find whatever you're into, right? You can just pull up porn and you just find whatever. And it's like
in your mind, you're fucking somebody new every day.
Dude, we're lazy, right? Everybody doom scrolls on their phone all day, right? Like you think about it. You get a break. You're on an elevator. You're
taking a shit.
You're at lunch. You're taking a shit. You're at dinner, and your partner steps away, and immediately you pick up your phone and you scroll through your social. It's like we're the epitome of that. People invite you to a party. You're like, nah, I'm busy. I don't want to go. A thing, right? Like you're like, I don't want to deal with the hassle going across town. Blah blah blah. But you'll sit at home on your couch and you'll just scroll through Facebook and you'll scroll through IG all night. And I think what that's doing is that's replaced the time where you would have gone to that party and you would have met that person that you would have ultimately slept with, whether it was a one night stand or they became your partner or whatever it was. And so I can see that whole, like, it's funny because like on the out, like when you think like, man, we have so much internet or porn or people fucking on the internet. And then you would assume that translates to people fucking in real life, but it really doesn't. It's like all the fucking is happening on camera, and then the rest of it, it's like most people in real life are just like, dude. And if you're a guy, you're like, fuck, I can whatever I'm into, I can just pick up my phone, I can find it,
and I can be into different shit. I can be into different shit
on different, and I can get that over with. And guess what? It didn't cost me money. I didn't have to deal with somebody bitching at me. I didn't have to like,
dude. It goes to you've seen is it Judge Dredd?
Yeah.
Where they have sex right
on the headset, yeah. And that shit was in the 90s. That movie,
yeah, dude. Yeah. But it kind of speaks to that when you go like, will there be a time in the future to where you can stimulate
robots and the AI,
stimulate yourself mentally and physically, right? Where you're actually like busting a nut, like through this mental stimulation, right? Where you get that shit, and then you don't need the partner,
dude. Even for women, right? Like women are into sex just as much as men, right? It's just that they have different ways of getting it, right? So why wouldn't they can take some AI, they can listen to the voice that they want to listen to, they can use some toy and shape it the whatever way they want, and
and then in your mind visually you're actually with the person that you're fantasizing about. Bro, that's
of course
it's kind of scary, bro.
It is, and I think that's just
so it's funny, man. Like, is that the way AI destroys humanity?
Oh, because because we're having so what is it by 20? It's before 2100 that we're at a deficit in terms of like or the population starts to get to the point of it's concerning because we're gonna have a population.
So it's probably
decline.
like increasing at a decreasing rate already, right?
Yeah, it is. So
is it? Man.
Well, I think what's happening is other countries are outpacing the United States. So it's definitely the case here. Like you're gonna have new superpowers emerge, like like the way China was like considered a superpower. Right. It's probably gonna end up being somebody like India or something in the next few years, and then you go then it just levels off because then the whole world stops having babies. And I want to say like in the next 40 to 50 years, you're going to see this like almost, I don't want to say extinction, a threat, but you're going to see this threat of like, oh, fuck, humans are starting to like, the dying is starting to outpace the births.
Right.
And that's when it gets scary. But, or to your point before, do we do all this other shit and like things are cyclical? Do we have something that sort of brings us back in the right direction? Does something happen? Do we get? How like clothes comes back around?
Yeah.
Like kids are into baggy clothes now. I wonder. I've been thinking about this a lot lately with I think especially with like social media. Like I've made it a point to use social less, and I've actually have done a good job. There was like an embarrassing number that my phone showed me once. It really was, man. There's like my phone showed me like the worst thing your phone can do is tell you how much time you spend on an app or on the phone, and it showed me how much time I spent. And I think it was like IG, and I was like grossed out by it, and I was like, fuck, man.
What was the number? Do you remember?
Bro, it was something like 7 hours in a day or something like that. Like it was
in one day.
Yeah. It was something crazy. And I was like, no
crazy.
fucking way.
No way, right.
And then I started like thinking about the time and actually adding it up and like how many times you just open it, close it, open it, close it, open it, close it, open it. And I was
and then like, oh, it's right.
It's fucking right. Yeah. And then I went, when am I opening it? And I went, fuck, man, I open it literally every free second. Right. And it was like an embarrassing thing like to think through. And I was just like, God damn, what could I be doing with that time? Yeah, it's more useful. Right. Like, and then I think that the same way sort of like that happens, like do we end up in a place where I don't know, that the evolution takes us in the other direction and it becomes cool to not have social, like how kids like
or not have a device.
Yeah, like you talk to like your boys probably aren't into Facebook, right? Like they're young. Like Facebook is whack. Facebook is for old people. Facebook is things like that. Like does it then become like cool to like I don't want to have like social. I want to be unavailable. Socials for old people. That like I think something like that brings us back around. Like where you're gonna I can totally see that happening where kids there's gonna be a thing where kids where it's going to be like cool to not be able to be found on the internet, to not be the one that's always available, to not like scarcity is cool, right? Like everything you think about, like whether it's a new gaming console that comes out, whether it's a shoe, a clothes, like things become cool because they're scarce, right? And then they become like the hip thing that you have, and it's like, does the person who doesn't have social media become like a cool commodity thing, right? And now everybody sort of like follows along. Because I would say, man, even for me, like the people that I've gotten along with the most in the last few years and that I enjoy their company are people who are almost like just completely absent from social media. Like they don't use it. They're not like fucking taking pictures of your meal every time you're out somewhere. They're not like doing stuff. And like I think even for me, like I found myself again like just being on my phone an embarrassing amount of time doing that stuff where I'm like, man, I made a conscious effort to try to pull back for sure, man. And I wonder if that's evolution's way of then saving us from like our own like extinction, if you will.
But we always say, man, humanity will figure it out.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
And like we have for a long period of time, and I think we'll continue to do that.
Yeah, we figure out a way to stick around, man.
Yeah, man. All right, man, on that, tell them where they can find us.
At the Carpet Podcast on IG. As we're talking shit about social, at the Carpet Podcast on YouTube. The Carpet Podcast on Facebook. For now. Yeah. Find us on there while it's still cool. And all your favorite audio platforms and anywhere where you listen to music or podcasts, so Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, Geo7 Ghana, Stitcher, no, not Stitcher, sorry, TuneIn, Podchaser, Pocket Cast, everywhere, broadcast. Just go on there, hit us up, talk to your smart device and tell it to play us, and it'll find us.
And as always, we appreciate you guys, and we will see you next week.
See you next week.
Peace.
Bye.